welcome back to my channel. I am Joseph Sadiq. Yes, I'm back with a new video, a new topic. I'm really excited about this topic because I think it's about my country of origin. Obviously, my ancestry is in Nigeria. So I wanted to speak about Nigeria today. And what I want to ask is a question about Nigeria today is, should there be a law that puts the politicians in jail for 100 years if they steal money? Should there be a law in Nigeria to put the politicians in jail if they steal the public funds, and jail time they should receive should be 100 years? That is the question. I know you're gonna say this. 100 years is a bit too harsh. You're doing too much, Joseph. You're being extreme. You're just trying to be evil. I get it. I understand it. I get it. I understand why you would think that I'm being extreme by saying 100 years. I think that Nigeria is in a very, 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 very bad state. Like, it's really bad. It's really bad. You look at other African countries and the changes they're making, that their future generations are going to benefit from changes. A lot of countries are standing up, even though some of it is lip service, but it's a start in terms of the changes of the contracts they're having with their partners in the West, in terms of the conversations they're having in a very sociological way, in an identity base. I just heard the country Mali had just put out the law that they're going to stop speaking French language so they can find back their identity, because Mali had an ancient empire, that was incredible. It's in the books and all of that stuff. Incredible. So they want to take back their identity. So you see all these countries making strides and moving forward. You see South Africa is joining the BRICS. You see Uganda with their stance and a lot of stuff they're doing, the connections, and trying to Kenya also trying to keep their currency and as a way to sell. A lot of countries are making strides. They're making progressive decisions. Some are still lip service, I get it, but I do believe that is a start to something better. Nigeria is not doing anything. Like, literally. It's just almost like a continuation of tradition, of just, you get in a position of power, you become a politician, it's your turn to eat. Like our president said it, it's my turn. It's my turn, he was saying. Emiloko, that's the right word he used. It's my turn. So, I'm asking, is there a law that should be put down that says any politician that steals in as much as a naira, I'm being extreme now, goes to jail for 100 years? Why do I need to say this? Why are you being extreme, Joseph? The corruption now has become wickedness. It's become wickedness. It's not even a situation where it's like, oh yeah, it took a little 1 million. They are putting out contracts, and every contract that gets received, it's a unspoken word of them splitting the money. Nothing gets done. So they put a contract out that we're going to do the road from Lagos to, say, Ibadan. They give it to the governor. The two governors may up, maybe some commissioners involved, some ministers. They split the money, so the road is not being done. It's a continuation of this nastiness. And the wickedness, why I call it wickedness, is because when you look at Nigeria in itself, with all of its resources, all of its income that it gets from resources, even some of them are bad deals, even with all of the bad deals, with all of the loan they gain from IMF and all of that nonsense, there are resources coming in. It is not there are money coming in. It is not a country that is in lack of money or in lack of something to exchange for currency, which is money. It has resources in abundance, right? And with all of its money coming in, and just a few people are splitting the money between themselves, what then has happened is you've left 95 or 90% of Nigerians with nothing. Like literally nothing. Every day is a new day. You couldn't even, when I was younger, when I lived in Nigeria when I was younger, because I came into Nigeria when I was very young. I spent time there. You could walk out and you can grab yourself a job. In Nigeria right now, you're lucky to find yourself a decent job. And if you do find a job, your boss can say, oh, I'm not going to pay you this month. Like that, the corruption is so much that it's created a selfishness among the politicians to the point that any laws that they should have been passing in order to structure employee-employer relation and things of that nature, it's non-existent. It's every man to themselves. So that wickedness has been channeled down to 90% of Nigerian population, and our future generations are going to suffer because of it. This is why I'm saying I think it should be something drastic, like 100 years in jail if you steal money, because people are doing extreme things to get out of that country, to go into a different place, to get better life, or they go into the extreme of being what you call 419 that became scammers. It's the people say in the 80s when I was there that there were people that are corrupt, that don't get me wrong, there were people that are doing bad things, but there was still a moral standard that you had, because you can always walk out and say you can hold on to a job and work your job, and build. You don't need to do the scamming. But now that the government, the corruption is so extreme, even the good people now are involved in scamming or something not quite morally, right. Things are not actually morally right. So now we have a system of people that the moral standard is skewed, right? And people are going to the extreme to get things done, right? You have a collective of people that the mindset of Nigerians is dog eat dog. You get what I'm saying to you? Like, because of the governance that we have. The governance that we have has created a generation of Nigerians that are cold-hearted. A lot, I'm not in mass, not all of them, in mass, cold-hearted. Like, they will scam and they don't think it's nothing. You have to understand there are parts of our culture that we are spiritual people, right? The spiritual people, like, say the Yoruba Empire, for example, that existed long before the colonial people came. They were a spiritual people. We were overstanding on the laws of nature. You understand what I'm saying to you? We had a good understanding of how nature works, right? The understanding that we have of that now, there's been an increase in the other side, the flip side of the spiritual culture that we have. The you know, the nasty part, the extreme part. So now you have a culture of people just moving towards more of that dark side of that spirituality that we have, which by law and by our oral history we know has repercussions to it. But because people are hungry, people want to be something. Some people want to show off. Don't get me wrong. We have a nature of wanting to outdo each other. That's, I don't know what that is. It's crazy. But people are going to the extreme to get their livelihood because of the condition of this corrupt officials. I am not making an excuse for the people that are scamming. I am not making an excuse for the people that are doing the wrong things. But I do have a good understanding of, if the money was flowing, for example, all the money was flowing, the corruption wasn't there, all the money was flowing, there'll be schools being built or being renovated, having maintenance on of our schools, of our roads, of our industries, factories. There's investment into factories, there's investment into electricity, 24-hour electricity, there's investment into what our resources can create, which then leads to another situation where it creates more jobs. There's an investment into the youth, there's an investment into hospitals, there's an investment into our healthcare, and there's an investment into farming, there's an investment into, like, the money flows down, there's an investment into infrastructure that powers the country, and then in so doing empowering the people. If that was there will still be a select of people going into the dark parts of things. That's human nature. But I do believe, I do know there will still be a high level of people with high moral standards that won't dare touch it because of our understanding of nature. That won't dare go to things that we know has a repercussion to it. But because of the treatment of our leaders, it's turned us cold-hearted. You, like, sometimes you speak to Nigerians and you're looking at them and you're like, bro, like that, bro, that's like, do you know there's repercussions to that? Not even like on a physical repercussion, it's just chemically. You know, like, you want to you want to, like, but it's cold-hearted. It's the sufferation that has created this generation of people. So with me understanding all of those elements, all of the reaction to the action of corruption, I think whatever has to happen in regards to how to stop this, or how to begin for Nigeria to move forward, there has to be a law. It has to be backed by the military with a full force. Any politicians that steals money, you go in jail 100 years. Because if that's the law to do that, and people know the conditions of the prisons, and politicians that are there know the conditions of the prisons, and what 100 years looks like, meaning they're going to be in jail for life if they steal this money. I don't think they'll really freely just be splitting money within themselves. You know? And with them stopping splitting money for themselves and allowing the money to flow down, Nigeria begins to grow. And do not forget the human resources that we do have. That is just sitting there with no investment to it. All of these kids that are able to crack into Western banks and stuff like that, that never went to school. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like, it's just a neglect that is there. So if you say to me that, Joseph, you're being cold, I don't think I'm actually cold enough. I think the most extreme laws in regards to stealing money from politicians has to be laid down, because what does Nigeria look like 50 to 100 years from now? My God, it looks very bleak from what I'm seeing now. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So you look, you got also leaders that don't have value in themselves. You can argue because they were born in colonial times. Colonial mind has been set. It's almost like they're all daddies. Their daddies, the UK or the West. Yes sir, yes sir, yes massa, yes massa. They were going to UK to go speak to them before they do an election. That tells you people don't value themselves. That tells you that country isn't quite independent as they say it is. They're allowing China to build a wall for 100 and something million. We could have done that ourselves, but people split money. They even go as bad as when they borrow money from IMF, they even split that money as well. So when the money when they split 80% and the 20% is left, and they try to throw it down to the governors or the council members, they see what they're doing, so they split it too. So nothing gets done. Electricity, nothing gets done, because some of them has interest in generators, so it's in their best interest to not have empower the people with electricity that will allow the woman that is cooking food in the restaurant to have electricity to boil her food, to you know to put in the refrigerator and all of that stuff. It allows the barbers to do their jobs. It allows it powers machines, it powers factories, it powers small businesses, you know, not to even talk about the sort of general comfort of just living under electricity where your fan can work. It powers a lot of things. But they, for selfish reasons, decided, yeah, let them. We're making money from these generators, so it's wickedness. I don't know how else to do it. I don't know whether that will solve the problem as a whole, but I do believe that's a start. It got to start from the top. I was hoping Peter will be entered, if I'm going to be honest with you. He was outside of the system a bit, but he was also in the system because he was a governor, one of the eastern states, and he did well over there. But they took the votes and did whatever they did with it. Only God knows. But Amo Baba, the Baba is there now, and the conversation I'm hearing, I don't know, it still doesn't look good. From the conversations from, during the time when they were, having conversations before the elections, what they have to say wasn't progressive. It was the old. I was hurt for days after the election because I knew the repercussion to generations to come. What hurt me the most, there were people that were on that boat that disappeared, that were Nigerians, because Nigerians are always trying to cross over to have a better life, and it's because of them, because of this politician, So I do believe it's a start. Gotta be drastic, man. 100 years. Fuck it. 100 years. Like, you touch any money, you go into jail for 100 years. Like that's how drastic it has to be. Just with everything that I've explained to you. And I've not even covered everything. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Other African countries are making changes to rid itself of the continued effect of the colonialism, how that is still within the blood of our leaders. All of our leaders that we've had were born in colonial Nigeria. So that gives you a sense of what they value. You know? You have a lot of politicians, just taking the public funds and turning it into their own personal fortune. So good luck, Jonathan, the embezzlement that he did. Lord have mercy. Even the secretary of petroleum, can't remember the name. I'll put the picture there somewhere. Buying houses in Mayfair and just living lavish. Another person that's associated with them as well owns a yacht and all of that. All from public funds. The same money that's supposed to come to the people to build infrastructure to help the future generations live in Nigeria and be proud to live in Nigeria. All of that resources become personal fortunes of people. This is the sad truth about Nigeria. And anything that's supposed to happen has to be drastic. There's no two ways about it. It has to be drastic. It just can't. It has to be as drastic as, bro, firing range. Okay, maybe that's too much. 100 years in jail if you steal money, and I think that will begin. But I don't have any proof of that gonna happening on what's going on, because I think it's I don't think there's anything new with who we got. Personally, no disrespect to Baba, but it's the same thing, and it makes me sad a bit that all of the progression I'm seeing in Kenya, Uganda, even in Ghana, Mali making that decision to stop, because they're not doing the French thing anymore. South Africa, Zimbabwe, all of these countries standing up to the West and coming together to create a new identity for the future going, because that's the start. Nigeria is doing nothing. All that they've been good for with all of our suffering is our movies and the music and the culture of that still remains around the world. You can see our influence in Latin America to this day, of all the slaves that were taken over there. They've continued tradition in terms of our old culture. That's what we have to be proud of. I guess we should be happy. But as a country, yeah, it's doomed. Painful to say, but it's true. It's true. But the first start, I don't care who comes in there or whatever decision, Nigeria doesn't move forward until that law is made. This is my belief. And I think a lot of progressive countries have done that. I believe Singapore rid itself of those elite people just stealing money. China did the same thing. For a country to move forward, it has to do away with that culture, because the money will never flow to its people. The rightful people that deserve it, which is the majority people living, the population living in Nigeria. Until that is done, that will never happen, I don't think. So let me know what you think in the comments. I can do a part 2 of this if I see enough comments. But that's the sad truth, man. Until that happens, I don't think it solves all the problems, but I think it's the beginning. Because from the time you can do that, and the military forces enforces that, and the team, the leaders enforce that amongst themselves, and they have accountability on every single where all the money is going, a proof, a concept, a backing, a checking up on the projects that's happening, and letting the public know what is going on, where the money is going, a transparency in where the money is going, the building of infrastructure and accountability. I said that, um, and all of the necessary, when the money starts to flow down and just reach the people everywhere you see it, is new roads, new buildings, changing our minds, changing, our mindset. Then we can start to lessen the coldness that the system, the leaders that we have has created in us. That's why Nigerians have a lot of bad reputation in the world right now, because the beginnings of that comes from our leaders, comes from Nigeria's leaders. You understand what I'm saying to you? Even with all of that, we're having great success in America. The Nigerian Americans are blazing a trail. In entertainment as well, our movies are blazing a trail. In music, Afrobeats, Lord have mercy, they're blazing a trail. But our leaders has created the dark sides of human nature in us, because people are starving and they do anything to put food on their table, including taking from other people, including going to dark arts, including doing things that you not imagine doing, violating the natural laws just for us to eat. I don't condone it, but the system created that. Nigeria has a long journey to go, a long journey. But as I said, if the money does not flow to the people, it can't happen, man. So, who knows? Maybe God has a different plan for Nigeria. I don't know what it is. But my belief, it starts from that law. Motherfucker, if you take even if you take 100 grand, you're going to jail for 100 years. It's not your money. Increase the payments for them, but don't want to steal it. The money has to flow to its people, and to build infrastructure, and to build a future, to build a system, to build infrastructure, and rebuild all of our schools, rebuild all of the roads, rebuild. Do you know what I mean? The healthcare services and all of these necessary things that keeps Nigerians going, that keeps Nigeria, give us 24 hours electricity, that kind of vibe. The money has to flow to the people. The money has to flow for the betterment. And in so doing, you create new jobs, you tax them, and the money sort of flows back. And the exceptional people among us that can create new things, you empower them. They create new things, creates more jobs, creates more situation that you can tax, comes back to the country, flows back around. Just, what I mean? Protect its resources, start to reclaim its identity, start to love itself. Because I think a love of self, if you have a leader that loves himself and loves himself being Nigerian, I think things will change. Apart from that, but anyway, I've said too much. Let me know what you guys think. My name is Joseph Sadiq. Thank you for listening to my it's not a rant. It's not a rant. I don't think it's a rant. I just think it's a conversation. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, all that beautiful stuff. Alright? Peace and love. Thank you ever so much. Thank you for the support. And I'll catch you on the next one. Alright? Thank you.